Hey family, morning. Today's devotion is titled, Not Like You. And, before we begin, I want you to pause this and read 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 20 through 23. I want you to read that before continuing. You can pause this here. I want you to read that. Sunday, I had the pleasure of meeting my pastor's uncle. He was speaking, and his family came to town. And I'm standing outside the door to the auditorium. And it was a very unique encounter. It wasn't what you would think, or what would you fit in as a pastor's family. He was very much, I think he's from New York. I know my pastor, he has roots in New York. This is not my senior pastor, this is one of my pastors at my church. And it was his first time speaking. And meeting his uncle was like, wow, this is an experience. And I don't know if he's Italian or not, but he's that New Yorker, kind of slight touch of Italian, very different sense of humor in a good way, not offensive or anything like that. But he wasn't your cookie cutter churchgoer. Not at all. But as I interacted with him, I'm like, okay, we're talking before the service is starting and things like that. And it was an experience. It was a good experience. And then later on, learning about a little bit of his backstory, it made that encounter even more impactful. Hearing how he came to his nephew's church, and he hadn't been to church in a while, but hearing the impact that we as a church body collectively made on him. And it wasn't like, oh, he gave his life to Christ, but there was a seed planted. There was a seed planted that day on Sunday. We don't know what people are dealing with. We don't know their backstory, but when we're out and about in life, when we're in the checkout line, where we're greeting people on Sunday morning, and we see someone who doesn't go to church, who's a newcomer, we don't know what they've just come from. And oftentimes, if they're not like us, if they don't fit the build of what is in our comfort zone, we can unintentionally put up a wall and be like, okay, hi. Not necessarily be mean, but there's this like, okay, hi, how you doing? And people read subtle body language cues like, okay, they don't really want to interact with me no more, so I'm gonna keep it moving. But I want to encourage us as we're going about our day, whether at church, whether at work, whether in line at the grocery store, leave the door cracked enough so that way when that random person that you wouldn't normally interact with, when they strike up that conversation with you, leave the door open enough for them for them to take a seat at the table of your life. Because in that short span of interaction, you don't know how God is going to use you to bless them. And you may not quote any scripture, you may not, give them a tract or anything like that. But you don't know what God is doing in their life to plant a seed to move them closer to Him. Much love. God bless. B. Sawyer.